Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are basically grading, well, not grading, I guess saying an underrated player from every Premier League club, in my opinion. Well, in mine and a few other people's opinion, because I'll talk about that in a minute. I hope you do enjoy this video and enjoy this kind of Wednesday content that I normally do. If you have any video ideas for, I guess, Premier League related videos, and put that in the comments below. If you disagree with me or the people that also helped me in this video, then put that in the comments below. And yeah, subscribe if you are new, like the video if you do indeed like the video, and thanks for watching. So let's get straight into it. So basically, I've got help from two different people that I'm mates with, and I still don't know how to do kind of like links in the description, but I'll kind of just shout them out now. Tweed Games on YouTube and Jude_PS on Instagram. I think that's probably the better things to shout them out on. So yeah, if you want to check them out, you can go check them out. But yeah, they basically helped me kind of decide an underrated player for each team. But yeah, it's still an opinion, so don't get annoyed in the comments if your player doesn't get mentioned. But you know, let's get straight into it. So starting off with Arsenal, we've got Rob Holding. I think some people might have thought maybe like Saka, Nketiah, maybe like I don't know, Leno maybe. But I've said Holding because I think he's kind of just been he was the kind of. He had to start in Arsenal when he was young because they had Mertesacker and I think Mustafi, and they weren't doing very well. So he kind of came into the ranks when he was quite young and has kind of held his own there. And even though like nobody really seems to mention much about him, he seems to start a lot of games. He might be injured at the moment, but he started quite a few games at the start of this season, and he's been quite solid for them over the years. And so I think he's quite underrated because nobody really seems to talk about him much, and he didn't get the credit he deserves. So that's Arsenal. Aston Villa now, I've got John McGinn. I think he's been mentioned a decent amount, but I think he's still underrated compared to like the amount that Grealish gets mentioned and like even like Ollie Watkins now, and maybe Mings. He's underrated because I think he's probably the rock in the team that kind of just like links all the passes around, and I think in the dressing room he'd probably be quite a big voice, and so I've put him as underrated. I wasn't sure about Aston Villa, but I've ended up with McGinn. So you know, next up we got Brighton. I've put Dunk. I think Dunk is quite underrated. I believe he's Brighton's captain, but I think he is still quite underrated, and he's probably one of the better English defenders about at the moment. I know that seems like quite a big call, but with the likes of Maguire and I guess Mings and who else? I'm trying to think off the top of my head, English defenders. I can't seem to think of anything else at the moment. I know I am missing them though. But I think he's probably one of the better ones. Maybe not better than like Mings, but I still think he's very good. And I think he is quite underrated. Moving on to Burnley now, we've got another English defender in Tarkowski. I think he is very underrated. I think I don't think Burnley get the recognition they deserve. I know they've not started this season well, but I think they are a good team and a solid team. And if the owners actually let Sean Dyche kind of do what they want, then they'd be very high up the table. But at the moment, I'll probably say he's probably the most underrated. And yeah, so that's my Burnley option. Chelsea now. Chelsea, I've got an interesting one. So I've chose a first attacker. People might think, oh, he gets all the credit he deserves and stuff like that, but I don't think he actually does, because you know how Chelsea has signed like loads of players. I feel like everybody's just kind of forgot about him and just doesn't think that he's good enough to kind of be amongst the new signings. So I've got Pulisic. Pulisic, I think last season was one of the most vital points of Chelsea's attack, and if they didn't have him, then he literally, like, they would have been probably like fifth, sixth, maybe. I know it's quite a broad call, but like, still, I think he did such good stuff last season, and he also helped them get to that FA Cup final. So I think he's underrated, and he should just get rated more, because I think he's the best attacker that Chelsea have. At the moment, yeah, I think he's the best that they've got, which is still very good because he is a very good player. But that's who I've got for Chelsea. Crystal Palace now, I've got Van Aanholt. I think Van Aanholt is criminally underrated. He's very good at defending, but also very good attacking, which you kind of always see nowadays in football, attacking wing backs. And he's always there up in the attack. If you ever watch Crystal Palace game while he's playing, he's up there with the strikers at some points. And as soon as the attack changes, he's bombing it back down, and he's there to help the defence out. And he gets a lot of assists and sometimes get a cheeky goal. But yeah, so I've got him in because I think he is very underrated and deserves to be rated more, because him and Zaha do a lot, but I think Zaha just gets all the credit. But on the left, I feel like Van Aanholt probably instructs any attacks down the left. Everton now, I've got Coleman. I know Coleman is their captain and everything like that, but I don't think he gets the recognition he deserves. I think people look more into laughing at Pickford or praising James Rodriguez or any of the new signings or Calvert-Lewin or something like that. But I think Coleman is very underrated and is a solid point in their defence, and without them, they probably wouldn't be as strong, because him and Digne and then Keane is a solid defence, and Coleman kind of just links it all together, I think. But yeah, so that's what I've got for Everton. Fulham now. This is where I got a bit stuck, because there was a few options I could have chose of, but they signed quite a few good players this season, and I didn't just want to put in somebody new that they signed. So I got Byron. I don't think they signed him this season. I might be wrong. But Byron, I think he's good. I haven't got loads to say about him because I haven't seen much of him while they've been in the Prem, because they've just kind of lost a lot. But I think he's probably one of the more underrated players. Because it seems as though the only kind of Fulham player that's rated is Mitrovic. But they've got Tom Kearney, who's a captain, who's very, very good. And they've got Byron, who's also very, very good. But I'll be interested to see how Fulham do for the rest of the season. And, I don't hope bad on any teams, really. Leeds now, I've got Bamford. I think Bamford is criminally underrated. He got mocked a lot last season for not being as strong as he was. And, Bielsa's just stuck by him, as you probably heard before. And he's delivered. He started this season amazingly already, just got a hat-trick, and I think he's criminally underrated. Everybody just kind of seems to hype up Phillips, and he is very good, Phillips, but I think Bamford is also an amazing striker to have, and has kind of come into the Prem very well, and kind of fitted in. Leicester now, I've got Tielemans. Tielemans, I think Leicester's good at just kind of getting the players out under the radar that are good under the radar. They've got Castagna, and they've got Fofana and Tielemans. I think I said that right. No, I think I said Fofana. I don't know, but I think you know who he is. But yeah, Tielemans, I think he is very underrated and was a very big point in Leicester's team last season. And when they were playing well, he was playing very well as well, and linking up with Chilwell and Vardy well, and even Pereira. But I think he's quite underrated, so I've got him in for Leicester. Liverpool now, I've got Fabinho. Fabinho, I think, is criminally underrated, really. I think people kind of mock him in a way, but when, even just stepping into the centre-back role, even, wanting to do that is a big thing in itself. And even though he has just got injured, which, of course, isn't good for Liverpool, last season when he was in centre-back, he played well as well. But that's why I've got him in, just because he's willing to kind of, do anything for the team, really. I bet he'd play striker if he had to. But I'm not going to make any jokes about Bobby Firmino. But yeah, that's who I've got for Liverpool. Man City now, we've got Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva, I think it's kind of a toss-up between him and Riyad Mahrez. But I think I've gone with Bernardo Silva just because nobody really seems to talk about him, and he's an amazing player and would fit into a lot of clubs and kind of fits into the Pep Guardiola system quite well. But he kind of just seems to go under the radar for some reason, and so I've got him in as my Man City pick. Man United, I've got Matic. Matic, of course, hasn't had the greatest of time with Man United, but I started this season quite strongly, I think. And instead of being mocked, he's actually, I actually want to praise him because he's started well, and I think it's only up from here, really. And hopefully, he'll keep doing well and go back to his days when he was at Chelsea. Well, kind of his ability of when he was at Chelsea. Newcastle now, I've got Dubravka. I think that's how you say it. I think he might be the captain. I might be wrong with that. I think it might be Lascelles. But I've got him in because I think he is very underrated and probably should be rated very high because he's literally one of the reasons why they're still in the Premier League, because he is just such a solid goalkeeper, and he's kind of like Tim Krul in a way. When Norwich was in the Premier League, he was like making so many saves. Of course, he still went down, but I still think there was good signs from him. And Dubravka just is if you watch any kind of like Newcastle game, you can just see him like screaming at the defenders and making like the team just play better, really, and pulling off some good saves in the process. So I've got him for my Newcastle. Sheffield United, I've got Basham. I think last season him and Egan were very, very good in the defence. I think Egan got rated a bit higher than Basham, but Basham did amazingly as well. I think the Sheffield United defence last season was amazing. The attack, maybe not so much, but the defence kind of just did so well, it kind of carried the attack. But yeah, Basham is criminally underrated, and is, even though Sheffield United have not started very well this season, he's still a very, very good defender. Southampton now, I've got Redmond. People might think like you should put in Ward-Prowse, or I don't know, Walker-Peters or Vestergaard or something like that. But I've got him Redmond because I think he's kind of just been like thrown to the side a bit because everybody's just focusing on Ings at the moment, which of course is a good thing because he is a very, very good attacker. But Redmond is also a very good attacker, and when he's fully fit, he's a very good player, commands that left side, and is very good at just getting the balls into Ings. And yeah, I think he's quite underrated. Spurs now, I've got Ndombele. I think he does, since he's come in, he's really fitted into the Jose kind of team quite well, and he kind of does what Sissoko does, but with a bit more kind of like skill and like elegance about it, which also makes it look very good. And I mean, he still gets stuck in and everything like that, but he also knows how to get out of like sticky situations as well. And I think he's one of the reasons why Tottenham have started quite well this season. Well, very well this season. West Brom, I've got Sam Johnston. I think he gets a lot of hate online, and he doesn't deserve it because he is a very, very good goalie, and his past like 3 games he has saved West Brom from conceding like many. But yeah, I think he's very underrated. He's very, very good shot stopper, and I guess that's all I got to say really. And he does command the whole team very well. West Ham, I've got Cresswell. Cresswell's been at the club for quite a long time now, and he's still as good. Like he still gets lots of assists. He can still bang in free kicks, and he still runs up and down the line and is really committed for the team. But I don't think anybody gives him credit he deserves. So I've got him in for my West Ham. Wolves now, the final one. I've got Connor Cody. Connor Cody, I think, is very underrated and is finally getting the recognition he deserves, which is good from the England call-up. And I think he's probably up there with the best England defenders. That was the person I was thinking about before when I was thinking for Lewis Dunk. But yeah, that is the end of the video. Hope you do agree with me, and if you don't, put that in the comments below like I said before. Subscribe if you are new, like the video if you do indeed like the video and this style of video, and yeah, thanks for watching.